Good evening and welcome to the May 5th, 2025 Limerick Board of Select Persons meeting. Please join me in the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We will have the April 28th meeting minutes next week. I look for a motion to accept the warrants. I see none.
I'll make a motion to accept the warrants.
Okay, a motion?
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any discussion? None.
I'd like to make a suggestion. People going down to plumbers, pick up different things. Why aren't they signing the slips? It should be.
I'm not sure. That'd be a question for plumbers. No, I've been down there once before with the fire department, and they have you sign the digital.
I thought there were digital signatures on those.
Yeah.
There wasn't on the slips?
I didn't see it.
I saw Isaac's signature on one. I didn't. Do you still have it at your end? Who's got them?
He's usually pretty good.
The other thing is, they should be bringing purchase orders with them. He should have a purchase order book.
He does.
He does? Every time he goes down, he should bring one and write on it what he's purchased and how much and bring it back to you.
Julie and I just discussed that, so.
So this is good. That's got Isaac's signature on it at the bottom.
Okay, well, the little slips is what I'm talking about, John. I think if they're on the fire department.
Yeah, they're way up top. Maybe you couldn't see them.
Okay.
And this we get as a reprint with the invoice and has the signature with it. But they should have purchase orders with them when they go down.
All right, is there any further discussion? I see none. All those in favor? Opposed? All right. Would somebody read the announcements, please?
The Planning Board will meet on Wednesday, May 7th at 7 p.m. The Select Board will meet on Monday, May 12th at 7 p.m. The next semi-sesquicentennial meeting for the town's 250th anniversary will be Thursday, May 15th at 6 p.m. at the fire station. Please reach out to Lisa LePage for more information at 651-1594 or lllepage@yahoo.com. There will be a cemetery meeting on Tuesday, May 13th at 7 p.m. in the community room in the basement of the municipal building to discuss veterans' graves. The Revitalization Committee will meet at the Bricktown Hall on Thursday, May 15th at 6 p.m. The Appeals Board has one vacant seat to fill. Please reach out to the Select Board admin if interested at 793-4475. As a reminder, if you're speaking at any meeting, please go to the microphone so everyone will be able to hear. And as part of the hearing of citizens policy, no personal attacks on any individual or firm, including town employees, town officials, or members of the public will be tolerated during any meetings. Please direct concerns about individual employees or town officials to the chairman of the Board of Select Persons outside the public meeting. Please stay current with town information by visiting www.limerickme.org. And the town clerk tax collector's office is looking to hire a full-time 37 hours a week deputy town clerk tax collector, starting pay $18 an hour or higher, with certification pertaining to these positions. To apply, fill out the application found on the website, limerickme.org, and submit it by email to dtibbets@limerickme.org, or bring it to the town clerk tax collector's office in person during regular business hours, 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., Monday through Friday. And public notice, Town of Limerick, the Limerick Zoning Board of Appeals will review an administrative appeal application by Ernest Pakowitz for a consideration of a second expansion to the porch area at 223 Waycross Way in Limerick. The board will hold a site walk at 223 Waycross Way at 6:30 p.m. on Tuesday, May 6th. The public hearing will commence thereafter at 7 p.m. in the media room of the Limerick Municipal Building at 55 Washington Street, Limerick, Maine. Steve McLean, Chair, Limerick Zoning Board of Appeals. And also the fire training Saturday at 8 a.m. on May 10th. Across the street out here, they will start that training at 8 a.m.
There'll be a presence of fire and smoke there, so. All right, next I have department reports. I have Julie, our treasurer.
Each paperclip has paperwork for each one of you. So there's 5 copies in each paperwork, which one I'm going to speak about. No, each paper, yeah, got it?
Yeah.
Give you a minute. What I'm going to start with is what you folks brought up last week when you was asking questions pertaining to things going on. As of tonight, I've given Brady the information on the cameras and the SIM cards because I've had no luck and have put in at least over 8 hours of work trying to get through Verizon. The first one that you folks have is your Spectrum invoices. There's 2 accounts. These both go back to 2011. We've done some surveys. They was asked why I was paying the 2 of them. One is in this room here, I believe. Alicia found them for me. And the other one tomorrow I'm calling to have the unit closed down in order to find where it is. It's a 1-piece modem router. Spectrum gave me the serial number, but they could not give me the location of it as of the last conversation with them last week. The second comment was on the money from Partners Bank. That $36,309.97 was deposited to our account by the bank. The gentleman that was handling our loan for the fire barn, he is no longer with them, and before he left, he deposited the balance, and that had something to do with the generator, and it took us 5 days to find out where it was, but it's all squared away, and I've been instructed to pay that money on to the balance on the 1.8 that is still owed by the town to decrease the amount of the payment.
Well, who said to do that?
You?
To pay down the loan?
Yes, you put the $36,000 onto the loan. I have not done it yet.
I know, if I said that, I would never say that, first of all, on my own. Second of all, made a mistake. I think the money should stay in our account because we've already paid for it.
Okay,
We've already paid the generator bill,
yes,
so that's cash that we paid out.
yes,
This money should replace that cash.
okay.
Yeah, we don't,
Sorry, that's
No,
what I had for notes,
yeah, I'm
so
glad you
that's
brought
why I
up-
was
yeah,
bringing
don't-
it up tonight, so,
Unless somebody has a different opinion, I mean, we paid for the generator out of our cash.
Should go back in.
It should go back into the general fund.
thank you. Will be done. The next one is in regards to TRIO. The response for 2 issues. One was when you asked on the billing why the diesel wasn't charged to the line it was supposed to be. It is. Our budget has 8 digits, and when they print it out to the department summary, it only goes to 6 digits, so that the diesel falls under the public safety of the fire department, as well as the training seminars, equipment fees, repairs of maintenance, anything that maintains to 1501 goes there, but in the further diversification of them, it is broke out into the diesel, and that's one of the issues I'm asking Trio if they can break out the reports so this won't happen again for you folks. And also, they came back with the final that back when we had the question of why there wasn't some money for Linneville, a title on it, that they found the reason was on their side, as I told you folks, but I'm letting the public know. And they just recently fixed it. They had to come in from what they call the backside to fix it, and it took them quite a bit of time to find out what they were doing. Because of all the changes that they've done, we've still got we've got more issues dealing with Trio. Reports aren't balancing. And I know that Judy and Dee Dee are having trouble, and to get them, I think they said only 1 month had balanced to precisely, and that's on Trio's list of things to do as well. So that's with Trio. The next one, if you would look at your timesheet that I gave you for Public Works Director, there was a question why I didn't take taxes out. Everything under the amount earned, other than the highlighted, the $938.52 and the $688.77, is paid through accounts payable, so there is no taxes, and that would be what you see weekly when we're paying the Public Works crew back for using the tractors, the power broom, skid steer, and like that. For instance, I think there's 4 people this week that are on the accounts payables and only 2 in the payroll. And looking at the payroll, when I got it back from MRI tonight, they forgot one of our crew, so I'm working with Sally tomorrow to get it done. There's a case where we're paying on Thursday. He will get paid on Thursday like everybody else. It was Charlie that got shorted, but he will be paid tomorrow morning. They're calling me first thing in the morning to get it squared away. And I called them to make sure that we were on the same page. Sally did not have the documentation in front of her, so I says, we'll get it squared away and do it in the morning, and she was agreeable. The next subject is...
Can you go back on that for a minute? I'm going to say honestly, I've seen these for years the exact same way.
Right.
And the first time it ever struck me was last week, and I've approved and looked at dozens and dozens and dozens of these. I'm curious how we, and I don't know, I just want to make sure we're doing it correctly. So I understand if we have, I get it, if Rick is there as foreman for 10 hours and then he's got equipment there at the same time, that gets paid for. Perfectly understandable. How do you have somebody with no hours, but yet they have equipment? So like Nick Storer had his dump truck, his loader, and his sweeper attachment.
They have the hours.
But he gets all that time paid under equipment,
Yes.
but no payroll hours.
No.
That's with the operator. So those, and I get it, those prices are with the operator. My question is, and again, I'm going to preface this by, I've looked at dozens of these and signed off on, never had a question before. Somehow there's got to be hours for the person. Like you have hours for yourself, Charlie has hours for himself, and I understand that, and I'm not even going to question the fact that if a guy's there for 10 hours and getting paid time, he's also getting paid 10 hours for his loader with the operator. I'm okay with all that. What I question is with this somebody with no hours for payroll, but only equipment. So let's say, I mean, and these guys are getting payroll. So let's say something happened to Nick. Yep. Let's say something happened to him while he was there. Is he covered under workman's comp? He should be because we're paying him, but yet we can't prove any payroll hours for him. We can only show his equipment.
Everybody that I wrote down, it's the hourly rate is with the operator operating that equipment.
So my question is, so if you've got, let's say, skid steer for $85 an hour. Should we be paying $50 an hour for the equipment and $35 for the operator, or should it be broken out so that the operator's hours are taxed and covered? I mean, in case they get hurt for workman's comp or any of that stuff. So,
Let me go
and
back.
I think it's a question, might be a question for either the auditor or whoever or the payroll company even.
But this is just the way, long before me.
And I just said that.
Yeah,
Like,
I know you did.
I've signed off on these for as long as I've sat here. And I never thought about it until last week when I saw it was broken out differently for one than the other, then it struck me. But like I said, I've seen them 100 times.
They have two hourly rates, and one of them was without an operator,
Yeah.
and then there's with an operator. And I think it's easier to pay somebody to operate the equipment and have one price, and if you want it broken down, we'll have to go back and look at that fee scale.
Yeah, I mean, if it's with an operator without, if we could pay them the hours without the operator and then the operator with the equipment. I'm okay with it as long as the tax people are okay with it. Right, like I'm fine with it.
We can look into that.
It just strikes it a little odd that you can have somebody there for all those hours and they're not being paid with any type of payroll. So it just makes.
The scale shows with the operator.
And without, we've all seen them. I'm afraid if somebody gets hurt and they gotta go collect workman's comp and we gotta say, I don't know, we paid for his dump truck and we paid for his sweeper, but what did we pay for him?
Wouldn't that fall, if it's on Nick, wouldn't that fall back on his business? Because we're paying him with his business name, not his individual name?
It could be.
I would assume they would get
If you're paying him if you're paying him as a subcontractor, that may make all the difference.
Yeah.
He is being, because originally, the first one that my deputy put in, she put his name in, and then I asked Rick, and they want it underneath the business name.
Okay.
So that might be a
So that
CYA.
that may be the whole difference, is we're paying him, and we know we have his insurance on file, so that's fine. So he's got to understand if he gets hurt, that he's not covered by our workman's comp at all if he's out there working as a subcontractor. So he should know that and maybe be able to make the decision whether he wants to go one way or the other. I mean, it's not gonna cost us more either way, I don't think, except with a little extra workman's comp money, but I'd rather have it cost us a few extra bucks and have everybody be covered than have a surprise come up. So,
Let me know what you want to do.
Okay. We can do that.
Ricky, while you're up there, the figures like the $85 for the loader and that, is that state scale?
I took that off of the last road commissioner's
Take sheet.
pay sheet. And then the mini excavator, the foreman pays is on the state scale, the sweeper attachment. The power broom, you get a $1,000 power broom and it pays $5 an hour for it. It's like a chainsaw. What'd you pay for your power saw, like $800?
$900.
I get $5 an hour for it.
So you've got the state scale sheet?
Yeah.
Okay.
And a lot of this, I just went back on some of the old payroll slips from Scott, and I, like the sweeper attachment, I kept the rate the same as what they used. Bush hog, stuff like that, the brush.
Good.
Yep.
Anything else on that article? Thank you.
Thanks.
The next line is on MRI. They sent the 941, and as you are aware, during mid-quarter, the state decided to make it that the employee had to pay for their share of that little percent for the Family Medical Leave Act, and thereby there was a balance due of $440 and once. I'm not doing very good tonight. 441.93, and that was direct paid on over the line, and then the 941s were sent in certified, so they were in time. Hopefully, the next quarter, you won't see any adjustments on the 9941s.
So they send these to you and you mail them in, or do they normally mail them
I
in?
had to sign them as the treasurer.
So they send them to you and you mail them in?
Yes, I did.
And you'll be sending them all certified in the future?
To CYA, yes.
Yeah, okay.
So that alleviates any questions in the future. And Sally makes sure that we get them out on time. She's sending to me in the proper time frame. Is that all set? That one? Have a chance to call to sell. On your RHR Smith and Son, Smith and Company rather, there was, originally had the coding to go for the auditing, and I was requested to put it under the fire barn construction and also Hollandville. Hollandville had already been closed out and moved to Deepvale. Until otherwise instructed, I put it on the Deepvale account because that's where the money from Hollandville went. And to change it, I will gladly do it. The fire barn went to G03 529, and the Hollandville 2000 went to G536. We can gladly change them. There's no problem with that entry. The federal compliance audits for the fire barn is costing $3,000, and the federal compliance for the audit on Hollandville is costing the town $2,000.
Have they started that?
Supposedly, according to this, because it goes back to April 4th, but I have not had any communication with them.
Mentioning that when we had the meeting with him.
Right.
I always took it that it was going to be later on.
Well, John, I believe you've spoke to him, but I don't know what the correspondence was, other than...
I'm hoping from the billing that they're done.
But they are getting everything on the journal adjustments this week. Laura left me late Friday what is the fire barn, and I haven't had a chance to look at it because she was out today, so that payroll and everything else took all day to get in there with the corrections. But we will have an answer on it. I will get hold of Karen. And I also had asked the different departments, as you had asked me to do, John, I sent out back April 9th everybody's expense distribution list and asked if any changes needed to be done. The majority of the town department heads have returned them. I just got the transfer station today, and I'm looking at them, and I've asked Ricky to come verify because she wants to move about $3,200 from her budget to Ricky's budget. So I want another opinion on that.
Why?
Because she doesn't feel that the work was done at the transfer station. She feels that it should go to the Public Works Department. I have all the documentation in my office on my desk. That's that one. Okay. Now I hope we can give you some good news. I did not see this until this week. I hadn't payrolled, my counterpart had been doing the payroll, and you've got a copy of it on CMP's bill. According to the gentleman I spoke to for CMP, there was a credit that showed up 3 months ago, and I wasn't told that. She made the journal entry and took the payment and let it go. But when I got the bills this week, there is a substantial credit still of $34,635.85. According to the gentleman at CMP, they found this 3 months ago when the credit was $57,382.47. This is a result of your street lights back over 20 months ago being given a credit, and they never caught it on their end. We continued paying it, and now 3 months ago they came up with this credit. I called Doug and I made sure that the credit was legit. He went back and looked at it. He asked if I wanted to keep it on the books, and I said, no, please send it to the town. We're supposed to have it in a week to 10 days. $34,635.85. To verify that, I want to make sure, I balanced it up, and that started right when they say it did. That's when they found it. They stated that we were paying for 15 additional lights. I have no way of knowing, because I don't know how many lights you have, and this is before me. But you had an upgrade at that time also, I was told, by some of the town's employees. But anyhow, when this money comes back, it has to go to that line to follow the paper trail. Do you have to put it on the ballot to vote to expend it someplace else? Or can we just move it to, say, your, that would help immensely in your audit budget. But it is that much, and they did promise within a week to 10 days. I spoke to him at 11:20 on 5/2 of 25, and then he followed up and verified that the amount was right. You have a copy of each one of the month's statements, and that does balance out to the $34,635.
This goes back to 2024 though, correct?
They figure approximately 20 months.
So it goes back to previous year, certainly a previous year.
But the same line, it goes to that same line, the street lights. No other account is involved.
But we would have, if we had this credit back then,
It would have transferred in.
and we paid it out, it would have gone back into the general fund anyways.
Okay?
At the end of the year, it would have just rolled over. So I don't think we need to credit.
I didn't know the policy of the town.
I don't think we need to credit the streetlight account, because if it was this year, then yeah, I would say credit the streetlight account. But because it was from previous years, the money would have rolled over into the unassigned anyways,
Okay?
which would just end up in our general fund.
Okay, that's what I
So-
wanted to verify and ask.
Yeah, I mean, somehow in your books, you're gonna have to account for it on a line somewhere, and that might be a question for the auditor, I don't know, but I don't think we need to put it back on the streetlight account. And at this point, we need the cash flow anyways.
Right, I realized that,
So-
so I was pretty tickled when I had it.
Yeah,
Ron or Karen.
yeah, it would have rolled over into the unassigned at the end of 2023 or 2024, depending on where 20 months takes us back, so.
That's what he approximately figured, but you've got the exact date that they showed the credit, and I've got the detailed bills here with me. There is no date on the bill per se, but it started out with the 80,000, 81,115.64. And the last thing is you getting your figures from your chart of accounts. Creo, I called Sunday night to leave a message, so I'd be on the first ticket for Trio this morning. Unfortunately, they called before 9 o'clock, and after I got everything done, it was 3:45 when I called, and they were in a staff meeting. And I asked them, somebody to please call, and they didn't. I am going to do the journal entries, and so there won't be any procrastination. Whatever they tell me I've got to do, it'll be done, but I've gone back through and made the journal entries to debit and credit where the double lines are, and I plan on doing them tomorrow. And that's what I have. Other than there was one gentleman that wasn't paid this week on payroll, and we're paying it tomorrow.
Perfect.
So there's a godsend that we didn't have to pay on Thursday. That we're paying on Thursday.
Perfect.
It's all right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is it pertaining to the treasurer? Okay, real quick. Please and thank you.
Gail Libby. On April 20th, I emailed the board the recommendations for the Hollandville account. Did you all read that and approve it, and it's fine? Give it to the treasurer? Did you do that?
I don't recall seeing it off the top of my head.
Oh, so our
but I'll
email
check.
isn't working? Okay, all right.
Didn't say the email wasn't working, I just said I don't recall seeing it.
So, Julie, did you receive this?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
No, they were going to do it, no.
So I spent 8 hours doing this because I was asked to. Okay, and it has all of the entries that we feel are required to make Hollandville and Deepville correct. And I'm not sure exactly what you were talking about, that you had some more bills or something. I don't know what that's all about. I also emailed Julie asking for a time slot to go over this, and I haven't received an answer about that either. It's in my, I sent it in the email back in April. So I really would appreciate it. Hollandville is a federal grant. We've had a 4-hour audit with the EPA. Okay, but that's not the final audit. They still can come in and audit us. And then if we don't pass the audit, we get to give them back $1 million. So I really would appreciate it, and our committee would really appreciate it, if we could have a time slot to go over this work that we did. Thank you.
If you're gonna, a couple things. When you did, I did look at that on the 20th. I
Yeah.
forwarded it by email to the treasurer.
Okay, good. Maybe the email doesn't work.
If you've heard from not personally, but our auditor, Ron Smith,
I haven't heard anything.
is in the process or has completed and is very concerned about both those projects, Hollandville, and he has some extensive reporting to do on those federal grants. And he is either in the process or complete in doing those.
He should be. He has to verify that what we've done is correct.
And that's what
He has to verify because they listen to him.
And that's what he's doing.
That's a good idea.
So that should be, hopefully, the final piece of auditing out this project.
And will the committee that worked on this for many months and years be part of that final review?
I don't see any reason why we can't ask him to.
I'd like to at least be part of the review that's taking place in this building with her.
I could be wrong, but Julie, correct me. They are working, the auditors are working behind the scenes on those two projects.
Yeah.
And have asked for all that information. They've asked some detailed questions on both those projects, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you've sent it to them when they've asked you for it?
Yeah, Laura
So-
May has too.
So they've asked for receipts and billing and checks, right, everything. So they're working on the final audit for both those projects. And we can find out tomorrow, but they possibly could be complete.
Okay, I don't understand why she was asking questions tonight about where some charge could go.
Because the audit for this, the cost for this audit was $2,000 for the Hollandville project.
So the Hollandville project has to pay for that?
Well, that's what, that
Not the
was,
general fund, not whatever else you do? We have to pay for that?
well,
We
it's-
never have.
Well, it's not we as in you, it's the town.
We, the town, has,
We, the town, are gonna pay for it one way or the other.
the deep, okay.
So, we discussed it earlier, Bernie was up there when we discussed it. We have,
Right in CDBG rules, it says any administration on these grants are to be paid for by the town.
okay,
If Alicia does some administrative work, if Julie does some administrative work, if our auditors, I
Who
would
do you
think,
think's paying for it?
the town has to pay for it, not the Deep Vale account.
Well, wait a second. Let's back up here a minute.
The grant, whatever.
The town has put a lot of money into the Deep Vale and to the Hollandville account,
Okay,
okay? So if the town decides to account for those funds and for the auditing cost of that
yeah.
as part of that money, I don't see that it's,
You never did that before. Nobody ever did that before.
well, I gotta be honest, I don't know if the auditor, in past years, it's, the CBDG money is different.
No, he has to, okay.
It's
All right.
different
It could be.
than the federal money. This is the first time we've gotten federal money,
CDBG money is federal
but
money.
it's not a congressional spending account.
No,
The congressional spending accounts, both of those monies, the $1 million, the 1.8, require special work by the auditor, the review and the audit of the funds. That is what he's doing, because it's the congressional spending money.
okay.
He's done that for both. We got the bill today for $5,000. We're overspent on the auditor already. The fire department account still has money in it from what the voters approved. We weren't sure if the Hollandville had been closed out to zero yet at the time when we discussed it. So we thought that the best move would be to, instead of further overspending the audit line on the town, would be to bill the $2,000 to Hollandville and the $3,000 to the fire department. So Julie billed the $3,000 to the fire department, found that the Hollandville account has been closed out and voted on by the people to transfer to Deepvale, even though the vote said, after all bills are paid, something to that effect. So we probably could have been in the clear of doing it and making some changes and reverses, but at this point, she's taken and correct me if I'm wrong, Julie, the fire department money came out of the fire department account, and the Hollandville is sitting on the regular auditor's line. Okay.
No, coming out, put it in the Deep Vale.
Look at that deep.
You put it in Deepvale?
Yes, because we moved the Hollandville money to Deep Vale. It's not posted, I can move it
Okay.
back, that's not a problem. But when Alicia and I both discussed it and see which.
I don't think
I think it should go to Hollandville.
it either has to go to Hollandville and make the reversals and pull the money back out of Deepvale, or keep it on the regular audit line. I don't think if we do have to go through another audit again for Deepvale, they're gonna say, why are you paying $2,000 for the last project out of this project?
Right.
So either move it to the auditor's line or double reverse the money out of Deepvale back to Hollandville, because the vote was after all bills were paid. So you can make that decision. We're paying it either way.
Okay.
FYI, I cannot make any journal entries to Trio without permission from the auditors, because we are that far in advance. And I'm sure you're aware of that, John. And we're dealing right with Karen, sending her everything.
Yeah, any reversal type entries, correct. But you're making current entries.
Yes.
Yeah.
So my next question is, we have a meeting on the 15th, and may I get these 5 reports that will detail everything? These journal entries have been made for 2024? Is that what you're telling me?
Not on our books, no. The auditor has done it on their end.
The auditor asked, because the auditor has read-only access to our accounts, they are charting the changes that they want to make. They've asked Julie to not yet make any changes to 2024 until they sit together and say, we've already gone through Hollandville. These are the changes we need to make to get this correct. They don't want her going in today and making other changes that they don't see when they're done. So they've asked that the 2024 changes be tracked and all made at once.
So when will we be able to get a report, our committee, so we can know what to do and plan for Deepvale?
I don't know that I can give you a date answer for that.
Sure.
I mean, I can't. I mean, I guess we can check with the auditor and see how far along they are and find out.
Thank you.
All right, that is all I have under department reports. We'll move on to old business. We have paving bids. We received one bid in. From Allstate Construction, Inc. for New Dam Road to Dole's Ridge Bridge, or New Dam Road from the Dole's Ridge Road to the bridge, and Stonehill Road from Route 11 to the town line. Total cost of $227,984.90. Goes over our list of the paving equipment references, and they supplied the certificate of liability insurance. I'll give these to, if you want to look at them.
Alicia, who were the other companies that you sent those proposals out to?
I'd have to check, and then there was only one or two, and it was advertised on our website and in the shopping guide.
I would look for a motion to enter into contract with Allstate Construction, Inc. for the paving of the town roads.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
How does that compare with what we've got allotted for that?
It's below budget.
It's what?
Below budget.
Okay,
We have,
okay.
yeah. All right, any further discussion? All those in favor? All right.
So with that being said, we had a $300,000 budget. So I make a motion on the June ballot. We ask the people to transfer $50,000 from the paving budget to the Brick Town Hall Capital Reserve account for paving. So we've allotted municipal building. We have a capital reserve account for the work out here to give us another $50,000 into that account.
Motion and second. Any discussion?
So we've already approved the money. It's not going to, what's that? Did you say, oh boy?
That's what it sounds like. I was asking if it was coming out of the road budget.
Well, the road budget was 300.
Well, the only reason I'm asking is, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The only reason I was asking is because there is other work that we had talked about doing, but that's what we roads and came up with, because we wanted to make sure that we could get under your budget
and still get a fair amount of work done. I'm only throwing it out there that there was mindful of other work that could be done to roads. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it in your parking lot. I'm just throwing it out there.
Other paving work?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so why wasn't it put on with the bid?
Because we were
For
afraid
now.
of being over we were afraid of being over the budget. At the time that we rode the roads, he was unsure what he was going to have for funds.
And that's, I mean, trust me, I fully expect, because we budget this money a year ago, that everybody knows the budget's $300,000.
Right.
I'm very excited to see that the bid wasn't $298,000.
But we tried to be respectful to the budget.
And I get that, I appreciate that. And somebody could have come in at 298 knowing it was 300.
Right.
And now that we have, I guess, Rick, you have other paving work. If there's other paving work that should be done, I guess our choice is either to, I guess what I don't want to see is, all right, we saved $72,000 here. Let's now go out and do a little extra of this, a little extra of that, a little extra of that. I'd rather see it either used towards paving and not just be kind of thrown into the fund mix and have at it.
That was the intention. This was carried over from last year. I'm just following up on Dole's Ridge Road and Stone Hill Road.
What was carried over from last year?
This was... We set out on this over a year ago, riding the roads, coming up with a plan, coming up with how we would attack it.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping I'm loud enough so that nobody's...
Oh, yeah.
This is, so this is what we started with, and then when the new road commissioner came in, we met and we talked about what his options were. We talked about what we already had in the works, and we went and rode the roads. I explained to him why we were thinking what we were thinking, and we were very like-minded, although he would want a little shim in a couple spots, which actually made sense. And so we added that shim in there. And then we added shoulder travel to the new dam piece. And there again, we were trying to be mindful to keep the budget down, and that's why we didn't really add any more work to it. We'd already had a little bit of carryover to take care of Range Road.
And that's separate. That's not out of this 300,000.
But, and I'm not saying you shouldn't put it towards your parking lot, because the parking lot doesn't need to work. I just wanted you guys to know that we had thoughts of doing other work in town, and we've already talked about riding to build up what the next work would be, going into next year's budget. Because it takes a long time to go out and measure everything.
Yeah, but if this is going to go into next year's budget, this money isn't going to help us, because if this money isn't spent this year, it goes away.
Right.
December 31st at midnight.
It goes right back into the general fund.
Right.
And isn't going to save anybody in taxes or anything. It's just going to be extra money in the general fund. That's why if you've got work that you think you're going to be able to do this year, and you can spend that money on paving, then let's chat about it.
That was the whole intent of presenting the pavement to be put out for bid early this year, so we could jump on this and get these particular roads prepped in time. And like Charlie said, another thing I wanted to revisit with you is the parking lot behind the town hall. I want to get together with you, maybe do a site walk and look at that. Do you want to patch it, fix the cracks, or should we just plan on overlaying the whole parking lot? What's going to be more cost effective?
So let's back up a half a step. These roads that you're doing, do you have prep work to do to these roads before they come?
One of them. Stone Hill Road we do. New Dam Road is looking pretty good.
But if you've got money, if you need money to do the prep work for that, should come out of the paving piece of your budget and not the rest of your budget. So if you think you need money for that, let's take it from the 300, so it gives you a chance to do other work that you're doing without spending that money there. So, if you want to think about this and we want to hold off a little bit, I'll withdraw my motion, and we can maybe put our all heads together and figure out the best way to attack the $72,000 that's left. How much you're going to need for prep. That should come out of the 300 and not out of your other numbers. And then if there's something to do up there that the board thinks is more important, then
Well, I wanted to get.
Maybe we do it.
I wanted to get together with the board and do a site walk or a site drive and look at some potential other projects to include. But this was the main, these two roads are the main roads that were on the paving schedule that we wanted to make sure take place this year. And if Charlie's bid came in under, we already discussed that a little bit. I didn't know what his number was, but he said, you know, if we can save some money and maybe take care of a couple other small pieces of roads or side roads or parking lots, like behind the town hall or something like that, we would definitely revisit that.
So if we're gonna use this money for a parking lot, we're gonna have to get the townspeople to vote. This is road paving money. We'd be out of the realm of the vote if we paved a parking lot with it. But that doesn't mean we can't ask the people to say, are you willing to remove $15,000 from the road budget to the Brick Town Hall maintenance budget to pave the parking lot?
So that's why I wanted to run it by you, to see if it's worth repairing it and fixing all the cracks. Because Stan said it's an issue. I wanted to get together with you as the board and visit that. And if it's a possibility, if it'd be more cost effective to overlay it, then it wouldn't be to patch it all up and dig out the cracks and seal it. We would kind of lean that way.
I would be opposed to doing anything up there until we include the back piece.
Let's get the roads done first, then we'll deal with that.
Yeah, I mean, if we're gonna spend money up there, the whole intention of swapping that back piece was to increase parking, where we keep the salt sand now, on Sonny's old lot.
We weren't talking about that. We were talking about the parking lot itself.
I get that, but the intention in getting that lot was to increase the parking uptown. So if we're going to do that, maybe we ought to look at doing that all at once. Figuring out the best way to lay it out to get the most amount of spots and people in and out to increase the parking uptown. So I'll withdraw my motion for the June vote for the 72,000, but I think if we're going to reallocate something, we ought to know sooner rather than later. We're already done for the June vote. We can't put anything on. What was I even thinking?
I don't know.
It's November.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm
I was gonna
sorry.
have
It
you
wasn't
withdraw
even,
it anyway.
yeah, I'm surprised the phones aren't beeping, but June is, I thought we were allowed. So June's out of the realm anyway, so I'm gonna withdraw my motion. But I just don't want this money to go into the abyss because it's not gonna help us in any way.
That's not the intention here.
Yeah.
No, there's plenty of roads
Oh,
that
there's-
need to be done.
Yeah, and if there's more road work to be done,
Absolutely.
yeah, and you should figure out what you need to prep that road, because that can come out of here,
Perfect.
because that's all part of that project.
Good.
Rick, have you had a chance to go around to all the roads and set up a schedule, what roads have to be done? And what
We
priorities?
started that, yes.
Okay.
Yep. We have started that. Anything else?
I do have one question, it's basically for Carroll Materials, but on the Range Road, you're gonna be putting an overlay?
Yep, it's getting a 1-inch overlay.
Yep.
We've already cut the joints, and we've had guys go up and sweep, we're gonna sweep it again. We got the initial spring sand off it. We're up to trim the joints, we actually did a repair on it today. The intersection of Rangy and
Yeah, I saw it.
65. So when we trimmed that joint, we found that we were shy. So we dug that out and we hit that with base, 19 millimeter material, and we tied that all in. We dug back to the point that we had to make sure we had a good amount of asphalt, and we based that back in today, and now I just need Mother Nature to cooperate so we can put the surface on it. But right now, it's not being very
The
cooperative.
question I have is, when you're putting down that next layer, you're putting down the tack, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, what is that tack made of? Is that tar?
So it's liquid asphalt,
Okay,
and it has water that is basically spun into it it's spun in under pressure.
Yeah.
So it's called an emulsification. So it's spun in there, and what happens is we spray that out, and the air draws the water out of it, and it becomes a tackifier, and that's why they call it tack. So basically, it's like roof and asphalt, but it's thinner, and it's very sticky. So to create a bond between the base surface and the surface material.
Okay, the reason why I asked that is I was told that that was not necessarily all tar, the tack, it was some kind of other material.
It's liquid asphalt, so
That's
not just
right.
tar. I mean, but it's made of a, I'm not a chemist, so I can't say exactly, but it's made of bitumen, which is an oil-based product. And like I say, it has water that's spun into it. And when the water evaporates out, it turns black. Because when it goes down, it's brown. If you look closely at it, and as the water evaporates out, it turns black. And that's when it's ready to pave. And like I say, it's made to help adhere to the next level.
Okay, because I've various times, not necessarily Limerick, but I've placed, I noticed in Sanford where they put an overlay on one road. I don't know if you folks did it or who did it, but it seems like the stuff is lifting
It can.
in patches. And I was wondering if it was because of that tack.
It's not because of the tack. It's probably, one, it wasn't clean. Could have been cold, could have been wet. It could have been, I mean, I'd have to look at it to give you a better idea, but there's a lot of little things that can lead to it. You know, if you get the surface really clean and you tack it, and you put down a good amount of material, you shouldn't have an issue. It just, one other thing, just so you guys know, there is a rough spot in the hill, which we have addressed the board about before. We will shim that, and basically what we're going to do is a drag shim, so that it'll just touch the high spots, it'll fill the lows, which will make it smooth. We'll roll it, and then we'll set back, and we'll pull the inch overlay over that. So it should have a pretty nice product when you're done. Now, just the other thing is, I know there's some rumblings from the townspeople that the road wasn't done properly. I think you're going to find we had a tremendous amount of frost in the ground this year compared to what we haven't had in 20 years. I had roads all over the area that we had frost deep that were 3 foot deep, and it caused the road to split. We were very lucky on this road. To my knowledge, I didn't see any splitting. Did you? So we were very lucky there. I know we did have a couple areas of concern, but I can't see anything wrong with the road at this point, other than it needs a shim, a cleaning, and paving.
So at this point in time, we're not going to do anything with that culvert?
No, we already walked that, and there was a depression on the side of the road, and I talked to Charlie about that, and he says, if we cut that section out, you're gonna have a bump there all the time. So the frost was the main thing.
So the thing is that I don't know how long that culvert's been there. I mean, nobody really knows. Nobody has any idea. Right now, the road's perfectly smooth. If we go dig that up, I mean, you're just going to create a bump in the road. There's absolutely nothing I can do to fix it if we do it. Because you're going to unsettle the material, you're going to get it compact as best you can, which isn't going to be that great, and then we're going to pave it shortly afterwards. It's going to be a bump. And right now, you got a pretty damn good road, so my thoughts say keep it that way. Right now, the only time it bothers is heavy, severe frost.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
All right, we are moving on. Review of legal accounts. I did not see a bill this week.
And then, just quickly.
Yeah.
You did make a motion, and not correctly, but it stopped. So.
We voted on.
No. They voted to accept.
We voted to accept the contract. The other was a separate motion.
And then there was a second, yeah. Yeah, no.
So,
We'll sign this this is a contract?
yes.
Yeah, we'll sign this tonight and,
I'll have it on Wednesday for you.
Yeah, that'd be great. An email is all I really need, or send that back to me.
I'll scan them.
Just
I'll
because I have
scan
to
them
get it
and
set
send
up internally.
Nope, I'll scan them and send them to you.
Okay, I just want to make sure it's all set to go home.
Yep.
myself.
yeah. Have a bite from me.
I will. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
All right, no legal bill this week. Cemetery mowing, Veterans and Cemetery Committee meeting is set for Tuesday, May 14th at 7.
13th. It's 13th.
It says 14th? Okay. May 13th at 7 p.m. in the community room in the basement at this building.
So can I talk on that for a second?
No, yeah.
So I got an email from Joe Walsh, who kind of last year started this cemetery crew for us and had a great start to it. He was wondering about getting some donations or fundraising, some funds for certain things to help. And I know we've talked about this before, so barrels, tools, supplies, certain things. So I wasn't sure if he needed to do that, if we have allotted a certain amount, like under public places, supplies, there's a veterans account that we have, and there's also our buildings and grounds for public places. So I don't think we would set up a special account for it, but I wanted to at least have correct information for him.
500, I think.
Rakes, barrels, fuel, stuff that he needs to operate stuff.
How much is in the budget?
I'm trying to, it's around 500 in the cemetery budget, right?
The supplies, the veterans one, unless I looked, well, yeah, I guess I shouldn't look at this one because it might be less, but buildings and grounds started with 15, I believe.
Well, we got $1,000 for supplies for public areas and cemeteries in the budget, right? Am I missing that?
Yep, I see it.
How much is it?
It's $1,000 in the supply line for public areas and cemeteries.
And they want to buy shovels or something?
Well, stuff to, I don't think, I mean, we've asked him to kind of head taking care of the veteran cemeteries that we have. I don't remember quoting, but there's at least over 100 of them within the town that they're trying to, and it is our responsibility to take care of them.
Cemeteries?
That have veterans.
I know there's a lot of them when the scouts are there.
That's what we've gone off of,
Because last year when we met with them, the meetings we had with them, Katie and I, we told him that he had the money, but he never stepped forward.
Well, I think he started. The problem is getting, I think he's trying to hit the ground again running and trying to get more people involved. And as we all know, that's usually the...
Well, can we get back to him and find out what he thinks he's going to have to buy?
Yeah,
And go
I
from
don't,
there?
and he's not coming looking for money. He was, his email to me was, if he got donations and fundraising, is there an account here to put it in? I think he's just trying to keep it all within town funds. And I know we had said last year that we were setting some aside for this project. So that's why I'm just asking for guidance on
Why don't you ask him what he, like how it's, what he thinks he would need and like
Okay.
for a dollar amount?
Okay.
I mean, if they're putting in all this time to actually do the work,
Yeah.
I think we can find some bucks to buy them, whatever, I'm assuming it's reasonable. I'd rather have them spend their time working in the cemetery than fundraising.
Yeah, I just don't think he wanted, just wanted to come at us with. The other thing is, he is holding the meeting here. I know that, like Wade had said before, Wade and Katie both came. Are you fine with him having a key to get into the building now, if he's heading the meeting, if nobody else from the board will be here, or somebody want to come and unlock the building, or?
If he wants to schedule, I can meet him here or whatever.
So
And go to the meeting with him.
Tuesday the 13th at 7.
The 13th, not the 14th.
I know,
Your
sorry.
paper says the 14th. It's the 13th.
Okay, perfect.
Perfect. We are still waiting on the quote for the lights for the municipal building. Revision of policies, sign the purchasing policy, the changes, review changes for the week, or are we all set to sign on this?
Can we put that off a week so we can read it? Because I just got it tonight.
Yeah.
We doing that. We finalized it last week, did we not?
Well, so the changes that were made, we incorporated $0 to $24.99, those two, and the wording. And the other thing was referring to the SOP for the purchasing process. And then under exemption from bidding, we took out, don't quote me because I'm not looking at the old one, but there were certain things that were in parentheses. I think maybe electrician.
Yeah, that was taken out.
Yep, those, and the last sentence, as directed by the select board. All vendors must supply the town proof of insurance as directed by the select board. So those were the three changes, and then the SOP, which in the SOP I will update the purchase policy for this one to be copied with it.
Well, at that point, I want to make a motion. We put it off till next week so we all have a chance to read it.
All right, there's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it. If you're comfortable, if you want another week to be comfortable with it, I don't have a problem with that.
All right, any further discussion? All those in favor? All right. Next, we have the review of the hearing of citizens policy and some changes. If anybody wants to make changes, I have a few changes that I would recommend. I, with work, went to another town's meeting a couple of months ago, and they had their hearing of citizens policy at the beginning, or the hearing of citizens at the beginning of the meeting. So that kind of residents can give input on agenda discussions. So this doesn't have to be the final wording, but I just put, there will be one agenda discussion at the beginning of each regularly scheduled select board's meeting. This is the time to discuss any potential concerns regarding agenda topics / give input on items at hand. Each person is allowed a maximum of 2 times to the podium during this time. Another change that I think that is, if the select board is discussing items regarding a certain department, department heads are able to give input during this discussion at the discretion of the select board. If it is known that this topic will be discussed, department heads should be invited to be present for the discussion. And then another one I have is questions regarding specific department procedures or policies are to be asked of a department head prior to bringing them to the select board. If no response is given in a timely manner, it may be asked to the select board. I don't know if anybody else has any changes, or how everybody feels about possibly moving the hearing of citizens section to the beginning of the meeting. It seemed like it worked good for the town that I went and visited, so.
It used to be that way,
Is there a reason that it was?
yes, because there was a couple of meetings where the hearing of citizens got out of hand, and we had to adjourn the meeting, and we didn't finish our business because we had to end the meeting early. So, I think we've gotten past that though lately, and I haven't recognized that we've had a time where we've had to adjourn a meeting for hearing of citizens, but that is what happened.
Okay.
There was a few meetings that we had to cut the meeting off. So, maybe we go back to where it was and we're in more civil times.
So
Keep it the way it is.
keep it the way it is?
At the end,
We get all of our business out of the way, and like you said, if somebody gets in and get a hot topic going, we could be here for 3 hours before we even get started on our business. If it's in the other end, we can cut it short if we have to.
As it reads now, actually, funny. There will be one hearing a citizens segment at each regularly scheduled select board's meeting at the end of each meeting after the agenda topics are complete. Each hearing a citizens segment is limited to 10 minutes. So the way I interpret that is that the whole hearing of citizens is allowed 10 minutes. I don't know if that's interpreted differently by other board members, but that's how I interpret that. So I don't...
So you're going to sit here with a stopwatch, is what you're saying, huh?
Well, I mean...
well, we can look at the clock. I mean, at the end of the meeting, we can say, I mean, I don't know, I've never been opposed to letting people get up and speak their piece, for whatever much time it took. If they're taking the time to come here and they're that involved, I've always been of the mindset, for the most part, let them be involved. We've been very open about letting people jump into the conversation during the meeting and into topics, because I can only imagine sitting in the audience, you're going over a topic, we're discussing it, they get no say on it, we vote on it, and what's the use of them coming up 10 minutes later and saying, boy, I sure wish, had done this or that. So I think as long as we're going to continue to allow people within reason to raise their hand during the meeting and speak, I don't care where the hearing of citizens is.
I mean, as far as, I agree with you, let them speak whenever they want to on a particular subject, but stuff that we read in the announcements, well, none of this, how you conduct yourself, I mean, I don't really see much need of that, to be honest with you. I mean, if people are going to be civil.
Yeah, for the most part. I mean,
I know when I was on previous boards, I can only remember one night that we actually had to call the state police. Somebody got out of, ended up having a firearm.
So, we don't have to make changes.
no, I mean, we can, I think it reads pretty well. I'm not opposed to.
The reason why I was thinking about changing it to the beginning of the meeting is that there has been times that we are on one agenda topic for well over an hour because we allow people to chat during it. Me, as being myself, I don't feel that it's fair if I let one person go. I feel I have to let everybody go when we're talking about a topic. So I was thinking if moving it to the beginning or even just adding the agenda discussion is keep the hearing of citizens at the end of the meeting and then allowing the agenda discussion. So, the agenda is posted on the website on Friday before, so people have time to review it. And then it's available to grab when you come in for the meeting. So I just think that it would be time if you have any input on a certain topic to add it there, but that is just my 2 cents. If we want to take this home and review it and come back with individual changes, we can do that.
We got to review the other one, and might as well review this one. Yep.
All right.
Agree.
They're both due next week. 3 weeks is pushing it.
Next is town-owned properties snowplow contract update. I didn't see any changes that need to be updated on that. Did anybody else? No? Okay.
I did fix the date. I think that was the only one that I found, so everything else was fine.
Yep.
Okay.
Progress of the sale on the Moore building. We all have copies of the closing documents. And it is closing this week. So we all have copies to review, and if anybody has any changes they would like to make to the closing documents, you can let either myself or Alicia know, and we can see what needs to be done. The deed restrictions are in there regarding the use and cultivation in production of cannabis. And other than that, I reviewed this earlier, and I think it looks fine, so. But
Jensen Baird's handling that?
Yes.
yes.
Now, is that the last one they have to do?
For us,
Yeah.
the last item,
Last item?
I didn't get a response yet from.
unless they're going to finish out the tax anticipation note with us.
Okay.
And I did email them today to ask if they are finishing that out. I'm just waiting for a response. Did you see one come in? I didn't, by the time I left work, I didn't see one. Okay.
So when we do close on the Moore building, we're gonna net the full $75,000 because the buyer's paying all the costs. That money goes directly to the capital project reserve account per vote.
Was that in that article like that, John?
Yeah.
The sale of properties.
It says verbatim that authorize the select board to sell and dispose of town-owned properties, town-owned lots with or without buildings, with terms and conditions that are in the best interest of the town, and apply the proceeds to the capital project reserve account after all taxes and costs have been paid on each parcel.
Now, would the cost, if there are any from the legal, from Jensen Baird, be taken out of that proceed?
There's not, we got the closing statement.
I know, I just didn't know if there was a, oh, yeah,
The
never mind.
closing statement's already here.
Yep.
There's no cost. It's our net proceeds are $75,000.
Discussion of a new lawyer, Creddy Flaherty. Kristen Collins will be here at next week's meeting from Creddy Flaherty. Is there any update on the municipal parking lot paving? Bernie or Howard?
The RFPs went out last week. And there's an ad posted in the Shopper's Guide inviting, other firms, wherever they're from, if they want to go. We sent it out to 5 firms that specialize in that type of work, so that's where we're at. I would think in the next couple of weeks, we'll start getting calls.
Did we have a particular date on that when they're gonna have proposals back in?
Yes, I think it was June 13th. I don't have the paperwork in front. I think any requests for information have to be in by May 23rd, and the proposals have to be in by June 13th.
Okay.
Perfect. Flags on Main and Washington Street. We're waiting for flag waivers. Believes new inventory will be subject to tariffs, but is checking with them.
Yeah, I emailed her before to see if there was an update, but I haven't heard back anything yet.
Perfect. Unlocking Boy Scout Island Gate. We do have 5 interested parties in that. For those of us who were on the board before, how do we handle that? Do we interview, with how municipal of a position, I don't know if we do interviews, if we throw the names in a hat. There was also, I posted the position on the town, or not the town, on the All About Limerick Facebook group, and there was a citizen who asked why we even have a gate locked. It doesn't stop people going in, it doesn't stop vandalism. It would save the town money if we didn't pay someone to unlock it. My response was that if somebody goes in and vandalizes and breaks stuff, and they either had to go in or around a locked gate, obviously they did it intentionally. If it's just another road, it's open, and thinking about it now, there's really no lights down there, so if you think it's another road, you can just continue driving. I don't know. I just think...
One question I have on this is the person that we're gonna put down there, I know they're opening up the gate, who's gonna take care of the trash and everything else? Because that's been a problem in the past too.
Isaac does.
Our janitor.
We don't keep barrels there. We've taken the porta potty out.
There's barrels there.
And there are barrels there?
As of last year.
Okay. So
There's
we
a
did
porta
last
potty
year.
and barrels.
I thought we took the porta potty out of there last year, didn't we?
I used
Did
the
we-
porta potty last year, so
No?
I
Okay.
think. Could have been 2 years ago. I
thought-
can check.
We put one in,
I'm sorry, we took it out of the lookout.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a porta potty down there, and there is trash barrels.
So when the gate was left open, it made it a lot easier for activity that we didn't want going on down there going on. And, they could, kids could drive in with, It's harder to carry in cases of beer as opposed to drive them in. We would just find a lot of stuff down there that we didn't like finding. So since it's been locked, that has either gone away completely or minimized significantly.
Now, we've got that situation. Now, what about the ones that are looking at the boats? As they're going there, do we still have that? Checking out the boats for the milfoil and everything?
The lake committee hires them.
Oh, okay. I don't know, we used to do it.
I know they had an ad-in for them, so yeah,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
the lake committee hires those people.
I'll be completely honest, I did not think I would have this much response.
I was gonna say, normally it's we get.
For $200 a month for having to open at 7 a.m. and locking at 8 p.m. every day from Memorial to Columbus.
So I guess I don't know how we would go about picking someone. I mean, it's not requirements. You can't check a resume. I mean,
I put them in order as I received them.
Should we just have a couple of people sit here and have them come in and just ask a few questions or whatever, so we know whether we're getting a good one or a bad one?
Do they have to have a background check?
these are the questions that I don't.
We have it in the past, but they don't interact with anybody.
They open the
speak
gate
up.
and leave, and then they show up and shut the gate and leave.
Yeah.
I guess the big question is, do they have a license so they can get there, or are they dependent on somebody else to bring them?
What if they all have either a phone number or an email address? What if we just come up with a quick questionnaire of, do you have, like, somebody here has themselves and their daughter. So that at least gives a backup, right? If
I know
this person and their
that
daughter.
one-
I think
one
that her
daughter is,
wanted to know if her daughter could do it.
but her daughter is 13.
Yeah, but her daughter's 13,
So I
so
said,
she would be
I got a phone call regarding that, and I said
willing
no.
to, she would be willing to do it. So I'm sure her daughter would be there with her, but
I mean, I know one on the list that I know that she goes there quite often with her kids, but.
that's what I think most of I got from it was.
And I know that one on the list is always posting, is a young kid in town looking for work around. So I think a quick questionnaire, also knowing where they live, if somebody lives at the end of Rangy Road versus someone that lives on Boy Scout Island Road, that plays a factor as well. So I can come up with a quick questionnaire and reach out to these folks and come back next week with answers, if that's okay with the rest of the board.
Sounds good to me.
And you guys can text me if you have any, or reach out to me if you have any certain questions you want asked. So, rediscussion of the board being on the town checking account. This feels like deja vu. I am, as of Monday, on the town general checking account. This is also a question for the rest of the board. Does the board want me to be on every town of Limerick account to be able to sign in the case of a catastrophe, or Julie's out sick, or there's somebody can't sign and they need a check signing? So right now I'm on the general checking. I don't know how many other accounts there are.
That's the only one that we have a checking account for. So that's
Okay.
the only one that needs signatures.
Okay.
Otherwise, you'd be going physically to the bank to move money around.
I've never been in Partners Bank. Well, I've been in Partners Bank once, and it was for the town.
It should be all the, we've got to think of the worst case scenario, right? If, God forbid, something happens to the one person that has it, who else, somebody has to be able to go down there and they're going to say, sorry, you don't control the account.
Yeah.
So I make a motion that the board chair be listed as a signer on all accounts that the town of Limerick has at Partners Bank.
Second.
So that'll put you with 3 signers.
Yeah, there's Julie, there's Judy, and me.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
there's a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? All right, and I'm going to abstain. We will move on to new business. Did you have something on that, Gail? This was something that we chatted about a while ago in the case of, so if we remember, it was when Julie had an incident, there was, the deputy was a signer, but didn't want to sign, if that's correct, didn't want the responsibility.
The deputy works at the behest of the treasurer.
So if the treasurer goes, the deputy goes too, and that means there's nobody on the account.
The person still is a signer, but if we have a mutiny and the treasurer and the deputy say, we've had enough of you people, see you later, we're done, right? At least the board chair is arbitrary, that there should be somebody.
All right, that's all I have for old business. New business, review closed winter maintenance road list. There's a note here that we're gonna wait until Stan can attend. He went home early today.
Have you seen that, Rick? The list?
The winter maintenance.
You can take mine. Not yet. You can take that one over.
Well, this was
I mean, this goes back to 2015.
2015, so I think that's why Stan felt like, I think some of these have changed since then, so we want to get them updated.
Can we?
Alicia, can you send me that?
Email?
Yeah.
Yep.
What does it take? So let's say a road is voted a town road.
Oh, shit, never mind, never mind.
He didn't know you don't have to send it.
Oh, okay.
If a road is a town road, does it take a vote of the entire town to discontinue it as a town road?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, we have I'll call it a road that we plow, that is clearly somebody's driveway.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Okay? I mean, it goes from road to garage. And there's, what's that? A to B. Goes from A to B. It goes from a road to the garage. I mean, and it's been, I know it got voted in a long time ago, but we don't do anything else there but plow it. We don't maintain it, we don't pave it. I don't even know if we own it.
All I know is if you don't plow it, you get a phone call.
Well, unless the town votes to say, hey, listen,
But that's a county road.
that's a
That's the one
county
I'm
road
thinking of. You're talking the one up,
off Route 5.
yeah, it's a county road.
It goes all the way to the Oliver Road up there by
Yeah.
Market Lane.
That goes all the way over to 160.
Through the garage?
I guess so.
It's a pull-through, John.
The door's open.
Yeah, the door's open. Okay, I didn't realize it, to me, it looks like a driveway, so, okay.
Yeah, it's been that way for years.
I know it's been that way for a long time, but it just, like I said, it goes.
I don't even think that road's passable at all. I think it's all grown up. I doubt they even know it exists.
It connects
Well-
to the road that we went and visited this.
To Moffett Run, yeah. Wow.
Right in the barn.
I was going to
Goes
say,
right through the
we
barn.
could have gone straight through
Right
that
to the bottom of
day.
Moffett Road.
You're supposed to be able to drive right through there. Let's make sure we don't own that property.
All right. Then I guess the question is it something we should be maintaining, other than plowing?
No.
Chamberlain Road. Okay.
It's always been the state legislature, it's made it all the way to the state legislature.
There we go.
I'm gonna make it
And-
road on Watson Hill.
He says we gotta go see the governor. It's not that important to me. I just thought it was just something odd that Seemed like a driveway to me, but probably not worth the efforts at this
You may
point.
want to take that up some other time.
Yeah, I mean,
A little bit more than that, what meets the eye.
whatever we gotta do.
Next on new business, I have confirmation of ambulance subscription insurance rate. Bernie?
It's not about the subscription rate. Vinny got a call from the billing company. He is allowed to increase the fees that are charged for the ambulance by 5% a year. And the subscription, or the company that does the billing recommends he does that. So he's just putting it out as information. The board never had any say of what was charged or anything. That was always run by the fire department, so this is just out there for information at this point.
Do we have to approve the increase?
Nope. You never approved the billing to begin with. Just the institution of the program. The billing is set. He negotiates with the insurance companies, but even after the negotiation, they're still calling up trying to nickel and dime you to death. So, I mean, it's another 5%, so $200,000 he takes in. That's a lot of money at the end of the year.
10 grand. Yeah, I mean, if we don't need to do anything, I say we encourage them to do it, but if we need to vote on raising the fee to the max, then we vote on raising the fee to the max.
I don't think we have to vote on it. It's just, he oversees that. The fire department always did oversee that.
Well, at some point, we've approved it.
Well, the fees you do for the code now, so not to do it, and that's just go with the recommendation of the council.
I make a motion, we authorize the fire chief to deal with the billing company and raise the fees to the maximum amount available.
I'll second that.
That's fair.
How is that going to affect these people that can't afford now to pay the fee?
Well, they have the option of going on the subscription, which is
Yeah.
cheap. And someone correct me if I'm wrong, but we've never chased anybody for a rescue bill that hasn't been able to pay it themselves.
Okay. As long as that stays that way.
There are times where they've come to us and I think it was last year, we reached out to people, and those that couldn't afford it, we wrote them off.
There was always write-offs every year
Yeah.
of people that couldn't afford to pay it.
You guys just did it now, it's municipal.
Yeah.
Fire department always handles it.
Yeah, we write off if they can't afford it. So, and we made it very, 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 very clear to everybody out there, do not be afraid to call the rescue because there's a fee. If you need the rescue, you call it. It has nothing to do with the money. We're basically going after the insurance companies that get paid to pay this stuff anyways, but no one should ever consider not calling the rescue because of the fee.
All right, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? All right, and I will abstain because the word fire department is in there. I know that's all it says on the agenda. I did receive a letter that I have been asked to read at the meeting. Dear members of the board, I am writing as a concerned resident regarding the tone and language used during televised select board meeting. In particular, the repeated use of profane language by one board member has caused concern. While I understand that discussions may become heated, I believe that such language is not keeping with the decorum expected of public officials. These meetings are accessible to the public, including young viewers, and serve as a representation of our town's leadership. It is important that we model respectful and professional communication, especially in a public forum. Doing so upholds the integrity of the board and reflects positively on our community. I respectfully request that the board consider this concern and encourage all members to maintain a standard of conduct appropriate for the setting. Thank you for your service to our town, and thank you for taking the time to consider this matter. All right. And then do you have...
Met with Michael along today, and we have the plans back for Tibbetts Memorial Park. He's called Dig Safe. Before he sets the monuments, they have to come out and make sure that it's safe to dig. He did say on the one by the road will be a regular marker pin. If we wanted the other ones to be any the granite monuments, then that would be fine. But we need to get together with the abutter, and he's writing up the descriptions for each one, and then we just get the deed made out, and that project's done. And he also mentioned the fire department in the lot between Charles and the fire station. The pins were set at one time. They were buried in construction, and he had mentioned before about putting those in. And the line is right on the edge of the tar. So one suggestion that he had is that we set a granite monument 10 feet back from the original pin and just reference that in the deed. So that's something that we should finish that up, and then the fire station is done. So 2 different projects.
You finish one, you start another. I think if somebody's going to write a public letter, their name should be, did they ask that their name not be mentioned?
No.
I think it should be who it's from.
And this letter was from Cortland Alexander. All right. That is all I have for new business. I open it to hearing of citizens. Lisa.
Lisa LePage. 2 hats again tonight. Limerick Historical Society has their big push the 17th, where they have the plant sale, craft fair, a couple of meals, and all the stuff that's been in the church. We're calling it Everything Goes sale. So we're encouraging people to come. I have outside tables available. Inside tables in the church are all sold, but we do have room outside if anybody wants a space. All right. Now I'm on to, you guys are going to get tired of this, the 250 birthday time capsule reveal. I want to stress, and I'll put out more advertisement. I don't know if anybody's seen Facebook. I've been posting pictures from 75, from the original capsule being buried. And David Carpenter brought us these pictures so that we can share them with people. We're having a bike safety rodeo presented by the Bicycle Coalition of Maine. It's free of charge. I volunteered Mike Ward and the Legion guys to run it. I think we've decided it's going to go in the parking lot of the Brick Town Hall, that area. It's free of charge. We want the kids to bring their bikes, decorate them for the parade, and then we'll have the bike safety rodeo. It also teaches kids how to do maintenance on their own bikes. What, I don't know. But that's one of the things, selling points. And they often give away free helmets and items. But in order to be on Main Street in the parade, you got to have a helmet. Let's see what else. That's it. I'm just going to keep coming, harassing. If people note, the next meeting is on a Thursday, not a Wednesday, because the fire department's starting a class on Wednesdays. So we moved to the 15th at 6 o'clock, still at the fire station. But I'd want to know, because we had been doing every Wednesday. This is a Thursday, and probably will continue while the fire department's having training. Anybody's welcome. Questions?
I'm going to thank a couple people for doing some work up there.
We've prepped. Charlie and Ricky have prepped. They spent 6 hours Friday prepping, and then another 2 hours Saturday. So we know what we're getting into. So, and I want to stress greatly, they volunteered all this time. Rumors are going around. I've heard them. I've been questioned. They didn't get paid a penny. I did tell them checks in the mail and I'm doubling their costs to cover it. But they know, they have volunteered 8 hours. And the equipment, the jackhammers and saws, all that. So we are now down to the capsule cover. On the 9th, David Carpenter, with his hard hat on, or tall hat on, will come and he's going to open the cover to expose the contents. So nobody's getting paid. This is volunteer, guys. Sweat and tears, that's about it. And I thank you, Rick.
Thank you for your time and everybody else.
Thank you. It's coming together. It would have been nice if we started probably a year or so ago, but it's coming together.
Right, is there anyone else? Sure.
Just a couple of observing questions. One, I noticed 2 of the stop signs have been installed and working. Why was the work stopped? Why wasn't the other 2 put in? Aren't there supposed to be 4?
Where? This
Oh, Emery Corner. The 2 new ones that they just put in.
Emery Corner and Quarry?
Yeah, just curious.
I will let our road commissioner answer that.
We got 2 of them up a month or so ago. We set the other ones up, and the one's defective. It wouldn't flash. It just lit up. And the company, Tapco, I got the information from Stan, is sending us a brand new one free of charge.
I mean, you
And then
were
once
there,
we-
I thought,
No,
finish it.
it's a situation where if you're gonna put a 4-way up, everything's gotta happen in one day, because we don't want any traffic problems. And plus, we got sight distance signs we've gotta put way before the intersection, so.
Yeah, just curious. I mean, you go by there and worked so hard to get the other ones up and then stopped. So it's just curious. People know now, me included. Okay. I've noticed on the billboard out there, special town meeting. Is that still on? I thought you guys discussed the other night that was not on.
It's not on there anymore.
But it was.
It was.
Okay.
Because I think I left it on there because I had taken off the date from the last one, but knew that we were going to have one in June, but yeah, it came off last week.
Okay, I was just curious on that. Another question about the Bricktown Hall. I noticed that when we had gotten the land from Sunny Swap from the industrial park there, it just sat there and sat there and sat there. What pushed it to start to be working on now?
The lot in between Uptown and the Bricktown Hall. From my understanding, there was an old foundation in there that needed to be removed, as that's where some of the events are going to happen from this upcoming event. That is what I know of that.
So then they put it in high gear and did that. So where did that granite go that was in the foundation?
I'm not sure.
Oh, I didn't know whether they stockpiled it on town property or you can reuse it for something.
There was no granite, it was all concrete.
Oh, he just said granite, sorry.
Did I say granite?
Foundation.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Okay. I had a question on the plowing. I had asked Alicia, well, you were supposed to get back to me, but I called her, emailed her, and you had sent something out. The way I read that purchase policy, now, that will go out to bid, or it's just going to be, the way that purchase policy is that it should have 3 bids?
So what I sent to Alicia was that the select board, the wording on the exemptions from bidding is that the select board recognizes that certain goods or services, legal, plumbing, electrical, surveyor, and others will continue to be provided by certain contractors each year, and that no annual bidding for such goods or services is necessary. However, this assumes good customer service and competitive pricing is provided by such contractors. I interpret that as that they have decided the competitive pricing, they're not increasing their pricing, and we have not had any complaints of their work, so we can extend it on a 1-year period.
Okay, I understand that part, but you back up to the anything over $2,500 goes out to bid.
Yeah,
One contracts the other, so how's that?
That's why you have an exemption. It's in all the same policy, and that exemption would override that's the reason for calling it an exemption and having it in there, is so you don't have to go out to bid.
So nothing's ever going to go out to bid again? How do you know? And the price is good, they didn't go up on the price, whatever, but how do you know that if you didn't put it out for bid, somebody might put it cheaper?
And if, I said this a couple weeks ago, if somebody put it out to bid and they offered $1 for the service and they rebid on it again at a higher price, we have the right to pick and choose which one.
And that's fine, but you still have that process of the bidding. You have the proper, everybody has a chance, and, and yes, you guys do have the final say on something, but it's still, the way it looks, you're just passing it to each one. No one's ever going to be able to get a bid. There's other people out there that, and I've repeated this over and over, that would like to bid to support their families, to make a living, and that's how it always has been. It's been the fair way. You don't know whether it's going to be a high bid or a low bid until you put it out to bid. That's the process that, makes it fair to everybody. And if somebody was going to do it for $1, so be it. They're helping the town. But you shouldn't be able to just say, oh, well, we're not going to do this because, it should be a fair for everyone to have. Just my opinion, and like I say, it's always been the bids, and don't know why lately it's just been pass it on, same,
Yep.
Because there's other people that could bid on that. Okay. No, that was the roads, the town hall. Now, the brick town hall won't be paved. That was in discussion.
I don't think
Because
that.
there's other roads out that need to be paved first, right? I mean, it's smooth, you can park there, everything's good. Okay, the new part, not the old part.
Well, we haven't decided yes or no.
Right, but I
talked
mean,
about
it's
it, but-
still, but Ricky's got to find out the other roads
It's
that
not
need to be
been-
done first, right?
Hopefully we can get roads done for 72 grand. That'd be great.
Well,
much
At
we
least
get
a
done, but-
partial one, a small one or something, so.
Maybe.
Okay, oh yeah, one question. I'm confused about the Deep Vale and Hollandville and stuff. I didn't think the town had anything to do with the water. I know we did until the grants came in, but why would we have to pay anything for them? For a water, because the water district says we're an entity, town cannot control us. So why would we have to? You can answer that, Gail? Okay.
CDBG grants, one of the rules is that the town must partner with a water district like we have. It's a joint thing between the town and the water district. When it comes to earmarks, maybe there's different rules. Okay, but they have to have a match. Both of them have to have, I think, a 25% match. And so with CDBG, we went to the townspeople and asked for that match because we knew that the water district was $11 million in the hole for projects. They were that far behind when we had the study done. So they can apply for an earmark too, but they would have to come up with 25%. Okay, as far as I know. But with CDBG, the town has to be involved. That's part of the rules.
Is that something we vote on every year?
Every project before we even enter into anything. Yeah, everything.
So that goes back to the water district saying the town can't tell them that they can't do this and this because it's an entity. They are private, they can do their thing. Then why, again, are they in, what was it, 11 million in the hole, you said?
It was about the year 2000 when a study was done, and there was a 5-year or 10-year plan put forward, and the cost of it at that point was $11 million to bring this system up to date, because for the past 30 years, it had been just Band-Aid approaches.
I was going to say, because if it's being run like that, then, you know, maybe the town should take it over and then have everybody, whatever. I'm just saying, if the water district can't control their money themselves, we shouldn't bail them out.
This group that has taken it over has hired a treasurer, hired a bookkeeper. They've been very good to work with, and we have done Main Street, and we have done Hollandville, and there's been no problems, and they've worked very cooperatively with the town. And we expect the same. We've already started the process with Deepvale, and again, they listen to us, we listen to them, we reach consensus. And we always bring all of this information to the board and to the people when necessary, and we hire a project manager that works. The town hires a project manager that works between all these entities, including the state or the federal government or the EPA or whoever, the president, whoever we have to talk to. Thank you.
One last thing. I don't have the water, and there's a lot of town people that don't have the town water, sewer, whatever. And I've always felt that it was very unfair for the taxpayers that don't have the benefit. I mean, the people in town, okay, they have to pay for their water bill. But I don't think that the taxpayers that don't have the water, I mean, we have to drill our own wells, we have to pay for that. The town doesn't help us with that it should be separate.
You benefit from the water system though, Sherry, on your insurance rates, you really do, because of the hydrants.
Lisa.
Just a couple of things. With us, people who don't have town water, I don't have town water, I pay. I don't have children in school. I pay school fees. So it's the same thing. It's part of being in a community. I want to get back to the contract, with the snowplow contract for 3 years. Dean and I had the contract with Hollis for 3 years from their mowing contract, with an option for a 4th year if we agreed not to change our price and everybody was happy. So it's not just here, it's common. So we did a 4th year, then we do a new contract, it goes out to bid. So it's not new.
Well, when I asked if you were going to put out to bid, nobody says that anything's ever going out to bid. It's always silent.
But the 4th bid, before
No,
went to bid.
No, I'm saying after the 4th. You just said after the 4th it would go out to bid. The town doesn't say that's what's going to happen.
I don't think we can sit here and definitively say what's going to happen in a year, 6 months, 2 years, 3 years. If all of a sudden the service we're getting isn't adequate, then clearly we would go out to bid, because part of the process of extending every year is based on a good value and good service. If we felt we weren't getting good service, then yeah, we'd go out to bid. Or if the person said, I want a 20% increase, and we want to challenge that value by going out to bid, then I would say at that point, we'd go back out to bid. So I don't think, it's not for not answering, it's for saying, I don't think anybody can answer what they're going to do 6 months or a year or 2 years from now.
Because you extended several contracts for a year.
2.
Which is fine.
2.
However, I don't agree that that's up to the board.
We've extended 2.
Okay, but does that mean that when that 4th year is up, you're still not going to give other people a chance? That's my big thing. Everything should be equal to all.
I don't think it has, in my mind, it's got nothing to do with the 4th year. I think that if it becomes the 4th, 5th, 6th, I think if next year, assuming we had the same service we've always got, and they were to come forward next year and say, we want to do this contract and we're either holding our price or this is our increase and the increase is nominal, I would vote for extending it 1 more year. I think if Mellon comes forward and we're getting the same good price, the same good service we've been getting from Mellon's, then I would say I'd be all for extending it another year. If at any point in time we stop getting the good service, then I would vote to go back out to bid, and I think everybody else would feel the same.
What is the thoughts of going to a public works department?
From what I understand, a couple $1 million.
Yes, but we spent $2 million on water and this and that. I'm just saying, why isn't that in the works to at least investigate to find out if it is more beneficial?
Certainly something that could be looked at. I mean, it's potentially the next step for this town. I'm not saying it's out of the realm of thinking. I think for right now, to think that we're gonna go out and build a public works garage and get set up, I mean, you're gonna start at $2 million,
Do it
so.
gradual. Do it, buy a few trucks, start gradual.
Yeah,
Waterford
and
did it, and they're just.
there's lots of options. I mean, I don't know what their budget is for their public works down there, but it's gotta be a lot.
A lot.
It's a bigger town.
Huh? It's a bigger town, yeah. So, yeah, I'm not saying, no, I wouldn't hesitate in a couple of years to say we're gonna put out a public works committee and see if that's something we should look at. I think we digest the money at the fire station and then look at another big project down the road. Maybe that's it.
Is there anyone else?
Well, you only been here for 10 minutes, so
Yeah.
who are you to talk?
He was taking a nap.
You and napping.
You want to talk about? What we talking about?
Oh, no, next week. I'm sorry, I didn't bring it.
All right, I look for a motion to adjourn.
Oh,
Seconded.
one quick thing. Did you get the email I sent today that came from Partners Bank? I forwarded it to the whole board. So I got an email, it was only to me, that they're looking for some information. It's regular yearly information they look from all their loan customers. I don't know why it came to my email only, because that must have been what they had on file, but just check your email for that. I forwarded it to the rest of the board and you, and emailed them to say, in the future, it should go to the treasurer.
Spectrum.
Yep.
When the town first started with Spectrum, and it was a different company at the time. They've changed hands like 4 times. But by contract, every municipal building had a free internet line. Please do not pull it out of here. It's in that cabinet. But we don't pay anything for it. We might be paying for a modem or something that you can pull, but do not pull that line out. We pulled it out of the Brick Town Hall by mistake, okay? And they would not let us correct that. They would not let us keep it. If you pull it out of here, it's a fail-safe kind of thing. If everything else fails, we have that internet line. It's very slow, but it's still free, and they have to give it to us. Thank you.
Well, it's not free.
According to these bills, we're paying $120 a month.
I don't know what you're paying for.
Can you give us the serial numbers, please, and I can verify which?
I don't know what, all I know is that there's a free line in here, and it's in the contract, and I think it's still valid, and they still should not pull it out. But it's the line you're going to disconnect. You disconnected it up to the town hall, and that was very bad. And
Why do we need it at the town hall? You're talking about previous to this?
Yes, previous to, yeah, when there was a time when Dottie changed up there from Spectrum to Consolidated, and when she did, she undid the line that was free. And if you talk to SRC-TV, they say, we should be using that line to verify that it's going out over cable. Okay? I don't do that. I call a human being because I want to make sure. But you can do that with this system but if you pull the line, you'll never be able to do it without paying. So I don't know what their billing is for. It's $120 for a modem, because that's the only thing that might be in there.
We're paying $120 for a modem.
That's really.
One is a modem and a router, separate units, and then one is a modem router together.
Well, I'd have to find the equipment because I don't know where it is. Okay, but
Well, we've established one's the town hall.
Yeah.
And so we're not.
there's nothing in the town hall for
No, I
Spectrum.
thought one was the old fire station.
No,
That-
none
well-
of those numbers have matched up to anything that
So we don't know where either one of these are.
When we
Though-
talk about town hall, I think this building.
No.
The fire station had one, the town hall had one, and this building had one, and the school had one at the time.
So these,
So there's a number on one of those. Oh, I think it's the 115 bill. Does it say cable box?
Yeah, it says router, cable box.
Okay, that number matches something in that media cabinet.
Okay,
So-
so they can have it back, as long as, don't pull the line, because
I
we'll
don't,
go.
I think what I want Julie to do, and I'm not saying call and cancel either one, is we don't have service addresses on either of those counts, which if they would give those, which I don't know why they can't, we would know. Neither of the equipment that came from Bricktown Hall or the old fire station matches any of those numbers. So we're pretty sure the $115 one goes here because those numbers match something that's in that media cabinet. So that could be our internet here. our
Okay, so
modem.
town hall means this building.
The 120 is the one that's in question. And
have the yellow question mark.
I'm not saying call, cancel it by any means. I'm just saying I don't know where that is.
I would like to know what we're
don't
paying
know
for. I
what-
mean-
Exactly. I don't know what it's connected to or
$240 a
where
month
it's
right
going.
here.
well, this 120 says since 2011.
I think they both have been a long
I
time.
mean, 2011, that's 13 years.
But,
Right, do the math.
but also I believe,
Serial numbers, that's all I can tell me. They put it on right here.
$15,000 we've paid for renting a modem and a router. We could have bought a couple.
I just don't know if one
My
is,
bill's $80. I get the modem, the router, and a cable box.
I just find it hard to
Hopefully
believe
we're
they
not paying
can't
that much.
tell us a service address for either one of those.
Give me more information, but that's all I
No,
can
yeah.
tell is the serial numbers.
Right. Well, before we pull the box and the modem out of there and tell them to stop
Yeah,
billing us.
I didn't plan, no.
SRC-TV would tell you not to do that.
No, that's not the plan. The plan is to call them and
Figure out
say,
where.
we have to have more information. Either this equipment was changed over time and numbers weren't updated, which could happen. I mean, you're talking about 2011. But what are we paying, where are we paying for these for?
Well, let's start with the one we know. This number, the one we do know.
Yeah.
This number is in that box.
There's a number
So
that's on that,
let's
so.
send an email to SRC-TV, because they seem to be the ones concerned about it, and say, we've spent $15,000 since 2011 on a combination modem router for that box. Can we buy one for $300 that will work, that we'll own, and not pay $15,000 over
Yeah.
10 years? So, I mean, we should be able to buy that and own it as a,
I can't imagine we're paying $115 for just renting that equipment. That has to be services included.
I think
is
so.
that what it says?
No, reoccurring charges, it says the basic reoccurring charges is $114.99, and then there's a business internet for $109.99, and then you've got some credits on.
Well, the Spectrum is on this floor for Judy and.
Yeah, the Spectric is this internet, this building is
Yes,
Spectrum.
for Judy, and it's a business line.
So that's.
No, yes, what I'm saying though is that if one of these are the free line that you're speaking about,
Right.
Why aren't we getting it free?
why aren't we getting it free? And that if they are charging us $120 for just the equipment, that's outrageous.
I'll let you know.
Thank
I
you.
just think it was.
Unless the free line was upgraded to the business line.
Well-
But I think it was always separate. I
That
think it was
could have
always
been, too.
separate.
It seems just like limited information. I've never known, like, you can't call and get a service address for,
Spectrum Business
Either one.
Internet, $130. Then you get an internet discount of $30. Then there's the reoccurring charges and comes out to $120. But I will get you all I can get tomorrow. It's on the list of all.
Anyone else? All right, I make a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Take it.
All right, all those in favor? Perfect, thank you.